Hi, I'm Debbie Schwartz, and I am in Greenwich, Connecticut, and I work for Jewish Family Services of Greenwich. I create and implement and deliver educational programming for pre- and post-adopt clients. So I have an adoption book discussion group. I have workshops for people that are waiting in the process. I help clients start the process and make action plans and help them figure out what direction is right for them, because there are so many different paths to adoption and there's no right or wrong. There's just what works for your family. This year we are creating an event called Forever Families Weekend, which is for Jewish families touched by adoption. We're partnering with the NJY Camps, which is one of North America's largest Jewish summer camp organizations, to bring families together for the weekend who are both part of the Jewish community and part of the adoption community, in an effort to have families think consciously about what it means to live where those two groups intersect. Families adopt both domestically and internationally and get an enormous amount of support and education, hopefully if the process is done right, in terms of helping their children integrate identities. If children are adopted internationally, for example, families are encouraged to bring the child's birth culture into their lives. So if you adopt someone from China or from Ethiopia, you find families doing things like culture camps or engaging in Chinese lessons or getting involved in the arts and culture. And that's wonderful. But no one really talks about the religious piece. And obviously it makes sense to raise the child in the religion that the family is. It wouldn't make sense for a Catholic family to adopt a child from China and suddenly, raise them in something other than Catholicism, no matter what religion that child's birth parents might have been, which in many cases isn't known. So that piece about religion kind of gets sidestepped a little bit. Culture camps and programs that that teach children to be proud of their not only international heritage but domestically be proud of their birth parents and understand their identity are really important. And this isn't to replace it or to supplant it, but to also give families a chance to strengthen the ties within their own family to Judaism and to the Jewish community as a whole. In fact, 51% of our clients are not Jewish because we are a non-discriminatory human services agency. And I saw the need for something like this, both from the Judaism side, I am Jewish, and from the adoption side, to give people a chance to think about this issue rather than just kind of move forward and never give it thought. I am a parent by adoption of 2 children. My oldest son is approaching his bar mitzvah, and we have always told our children that their birth parents weren't Jewish, but that they knew we were Jewish. They knew that the children would be raised Jewish. We had a conversion, and both my boys are, I have 2 boys, so we had a bris for each of them. And in talking about starting to plan for his bar mitzvah, we talked really seriously about what this means, and that it's not, first of all, something we were going to force them to do, and second of all, that it was really their choice and their conscious decision that they would live their lives as Jewish adults. Now, we're not foolish, 11-year-old boys thinking about turning 13 aren't really thinking about the future, and anything could happen. But at least at this point, we wanted it to be more than just something they did automatically. We wanted it to be something they really thought about. And in thinking about that and thinking about my clients, I saw a need. Many Christian organizations around the world have embraced the idea of adoption, particularly adopting waiting children and older children, as their mission. There are churches involved in this as a group, and finding a certain number of families in the congregation to adopt a certain number of children. That is a wonderful mission, and by no means are we suggesting that there's anything negative about that. But I think that mission in the Christian churches is driven by 2 things. One, certainly, absolutely an altruistic approach to finding families for these children who desperately need them, and that's wonderful. And then for some people, not all, for some people I think there's a secondary mission of bringing people to their religion, to Jesus, and that's fine. That's their belief, and I'm not, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what people are doing, and that's the way that they're building families, and that's wonderful. However children find families is wonderful. I think from a Jewish standpoint, Jews don't proselytize, we don't go out and convert. It's not part of our mission. So I don't think that you have a lot of families saying, ooh, I'm going to go adopt a child so there'll be one more Jewish child in this world. I don't think that's the primary message for Jews. And I'm not even saying that's the primary message for all Christians. I just think that within the movements that are church-based, there may be some of that, and there isn't that in Judaism. There isn't such a thing as looking Jewish. There were Jewish communities in Ethiopia for years, and the children that are being adopted from Ethiopia aren't necessarily Jewish, but when they become part of a Jewish family, then they are. And so, what does it mean to have a bar bat mitzvah for a child who, clearly had birth parents that weren't Jewish? Most birth parents aren't Jewish. And how do you integrate those two things rather than just ignore it? And how do we help children integrate that identity? And then how do we, as Jewish adoptive families, help make the Jewish community more accepting and more open and more understanding of the fact that there are more than one way to be Jewish, to look Jewish, and to be a Jewish family. Pat Johnston at Perspectives Press is a noted adoption author, and many years ago she wrote an article called Positive Adoption Language. Actually now they talk about respectful adoption language, which is, because language is so important and carries so much weight, using terminology that is positive rather than negative. It's about using language and words that are respectful and positive, and we do that already in the adoption community, and we're trying to kind of get that message spread beyond the adoption community. Extending the idea behind positive adoption language or respectful adoption language into the Jewish community and helping people understand that there's no longer one model for what it means to be Jewish or to look Jewish. That I actually went to camp there as a child. My children go to camp there now. My father-in-law went to camp there more than 60 years ago. So we have a long-standing relationship with the NJY Camps, now called the NJY Camps. And they have a family weekend program that's just a regular family weekend. People come, they get to know the camp, they spend vacation. And I thought, what a perfect opportunity. Families today don't have time. Our lives are so busy. We don't have time always to stop and do, adoption education. We're going to stop Little League and soccer and all these things to come together. But if we brought people out of their home environment, put them in a fun Jewish experience, and gave them the adoption programming at the same time, it would be something they could participate in as a family. And that was really the way that we felt would be most effective. And people have really gotten behind this. We have professionals running the workshops, adoption professionals, all of whom are either adoptive parents or adult adoptees, and all of whom are raising Jewish children. So we really get it. So the people that are coming to participate this weekend aren't getting some random person who's running a program that they don't really understand. We're all directly involved in this, and I think it's going to be really powerful for the parents as well as the children. What I'd like to see, first of all, is that we have a terrific time this year, and that people really learn and grow and make bonds and form connections between one another, as well as feel empowered to go out back into the world with their adoptive family, with their children, go to their communities and talk about this experience, educate the Hebrew school teachers, educate the rabbis, talk about what it means to bring these two pieces together. And then I hope it grows. I hope that next year we'll have double the number of people here in the tri-state area, and I hope we can expand this program to other parts of the country and possibly even do one-day workshops in different places, because we've had that request as well. And so, perhaps next year we'll be able to take pieces of this and travel to different locations and, central locations where we can bring a group of Jewish adoptive families together and do some of this work. The weekend runs June 12th through June 14th in Milford, Pennsylvania. This is 2009. We hope to run it annually after this. So if people are interested, they can visit us online, either at the NJY Camp website or at Jewish Family Services of Greenwich, and sign up for next year.